A banner year at the local port as record amounts of cargo make their way through. Good evening and thank you for joining us. There's plenty to celebrate this year for the Port of Thunder Bay. It's seen one of the strongest shipping seasons in decades, with the warming climate becoming more of a factor every year. Emma Chilton reports.
Another successful year for the Port of Thunder Bay. While final numbers for 2024 haven't been released yet, the port saw some of its strongest year to date for totals of September and October in decades. Port CEO Chris Heikkinen says they've been more than happy to see the busy season in the harbor.
Oh yeah, we've had a very strong season here at the Port of Thunder Bay. 2024 was really firing on all cylinders. Really strong shipments of your typical export cargoes of grain and potash, and some other dry bulk commodities, and also really strong on the import side as well. We had good steel levels and good phosphate fertilizer shipments inbound. Some interesting cargoes dabbled in there. So all in all, it's been a really good season.
Climate has played a significant factor this year, with warmer temperatures meaning less ice on the lake, which makes for easier shipping. However, no ice can cause problems later in the season. Heikkinen is optimistic it'll form at the right time.
We typically do like to see some ice cover on the Great Lakes over the winter because it does help prevent evaporation, and evaporation can lead to lower water levels, which can lead to lower volumes being able to be loaded into the ships for draft restrictions.
Work at the port also goes beyond just shipping. A foreign bulk carrier, the Federal Yashino, is currently being repaired after taking damage, and it's creating local work.
Yeah, so there is a vessel over at the Ontario Shipyards facility on the north side of the city. It's going to be undergoing repair work for the winter. Really fortunate that Ontario Shipyards has taken on the job of repairing this vessel, and that they're mobilizing a local crew to do so, which obviously helps with labor locally. So.
Emma Chilton, TBT News.
Thunder Bay Police have arrested 4 drivers over the weekend through the service's Festive Ride program. Among the drivers was a youth who now faces multiple charges. Traffic Constable Tom Armstrong posted a message to social media over the weekend, urging motorists to drive responsibly for the safety of everyone out on the road.
So 17-year-old with a G2 license, right? So again, like the ones we talked about last weekend, supposed to drive with the utmost care and attention, very much was not. This driver was stopped for stunt driving. Was doing 97 kilometers an hour in a 50 kilometer per hour zone, and in a very dangerous 50 kilometer per hour zone. There was 2 other youths in the vehicle. There was open alcohol in the vehicle. This driver was arrested for impaired operation, charged with impaired and dangerous stunt driving, several other offenses. There was driver's license suspensions, vehicle impounds, and this one just had tragedy written all over it. Like, it could have gone wrong in so many ways, and there were so many poor decisions made in this one. We're going to be at it again throughout the weekend, throughout New Year's, into the new year and beyond. I hope at some point in time people wake up and start making smarter decisions. Follow the rules, keep themselves and everybody else on the road safe.
The reconstruction of the Centennial Botanical Conservatory is now more than halfway done. The second phase is starting to take shape, and officials say the $11 million project is proceeding on budget. TBT News recently got a sneak peek at the ongoing work. Brendan Miller brings us inside.
The Centennial Botanical Conservatory first opened in 1967 and holds a special place in the hearts of many Thunder Bay residents. This is the first major overhaul of the glass-covered facility, and it took many years to finally make it happen. The project began in late fall of 2020. The first phase of the overhaul meant tearing down the half-century-old greenhouses, then rebuilding new ones. City landscape architect Guy Walter says progress is going smoothly and mostly at budget.
So the initial budget for phase 1, which we came in under budget, was $4.2 million. And for phase 2, which also includes a bit of phase 3, is an additional $7.2 million.
Walter highly credits the conservatory staff for the work they've done to keep the plants alive and well during the rebuild. Considering the climate and the difficulties that come with it, his overall takeaway is one of learning.
I rely on the professional staff we have here, horticulture specialists, we really maintain and keep this alive. It's a real challenge when you're ripping down, an enclosure for tropical plants in our climate. So it's been a real challenge, but actually, exciting learning kind of process.
As a part of our tour, Walter went over numerous different types of plants at the conservatory. He says some of these plants are basically priceless because of their maturity and species.
In the main tropical house, we've got some fig trees, we've got palm trees, we've got a ton of plants. We've got, I think, a total of 240 different species in here. And also in the cacti and succulent wing, which is the west wing, we've probably got another 70 different species in there. And we've got some fairly rare, quite wealthy, or not wealthy, valuable plants in there, which we've protected and preserved.
Making this new facility even better is that the technology has caught up. They've installed a fully automated system to keep the plants healthy, plus some other cool features in tandem.
With the environmental controls, we've got ridge vents, side louvers, humidity controls, lighting. All of these are controlled by the brain, which is our system that also controls the greenhouses, the grow houses. And with that, also we have lighting displays that are fully controlled by the team here.
3 years into the rebuild, and it's getting closer to completion. Walter says they plan on hosting a grand reopening in about 1 year's time. Brendan Miller, TBT News.
Eagle Lake First Nation is challenging the Nuclear Waste Management Organization's site selection in court. The NWMO recently chose the Ignace Wabigoon Lake site. Eagle Lake is accusing the organization of acting in bad faith and is seeking to have its decision quashed. The First Nation is seeking a judicial review of the site selection for the proposed deep geological repository to store Canada's nuclear waste. The application claims the organization refused to consider Eagle Lake as a host community for the site because members had voiced concerns. NWMO spokesperson Carolyn Fell told Dougal Media in an email that the organization is aware of and is reviewing the details of the judicial review filed by the First Nation. As we come to the end of 2024, many are taking some time to reflect on the year that was. That includes our local politicians, who spoke to us about their political highlights from the past 12 months.
Oh, I would think it was easily exceeding our housing target and being recognized by the province with big lumps of cash and the feds for the same. So the fact that we're doing so well on the growth in the city, I think is making lots of people happier throughout the city.
I think the biggest thing that I've been able to see happen here in Thunder Bay, and I've been that instrument in bringing the message down to Toronto, Queen's Park with regards to what the needs are, but I don't do it alone. It's in collaboration with all the organizations and agencies that I've really took the time to meet with, talk with, hold those roundtables so that we can really pull out what it is that we need to do to advance the interests of Thunder Bay, not just to address some of the challenges we have, but also make sure we're capitalizing on the opportunities.
Nebing, South Gillies, Conmee, O'Connor Township. People from those communities came to me and complained and say, how come we don't get the extra, it was then 10%, but now it's 20% carbon rebate because we live in rural areas. So I pursued that. I brought it to the Liberal Party. I brought it to Chrystia Freeland. I campaigned for it. And guess what? We won it.
2024, what would you say would be your top political highlight of the year gone by?
For me, probably raising the profile of the issues on our highways. I think I've been quite successful in identifying where the problems originate and what we could be doing to solve them. And that I think most people now understand what is going on and what needs to happen to change it.
One highlight from this past year is getting the water legislation to the state that it's in. It is really one of the strongest pieces of legislation that I've had the privilege of working on, and I think largely because it was co-developed with First Nations people. So it really imbues the desires and aspirations of First Nations communities around not just how to make sure that they can access clean water, but how to protect water for generations. And I found working on this bill extremely fulfilling. I think the other highlights are just being able to advocate for Thunder Bay to get the kinds of resources that we need.
Some bad news for people looking to go for a skate or play pickup hockey. The warmer weather has shut down Thunder Bay's outdoor rinks just a week after they opened for the season. The ice has been melting because of warmer conditions, meaning the city had to close 31 of the 32 rinks. The one that remains open is at Marina Park. City staff have still been out flooding the rinks as the temperature is expected to drop again later this week. Manager of Parks and Open Spaces, Corey Halverson, has good news for those looking to lace up again soon.
The forecast looks optimistic right now, so again, we'll be looking at all sites today. We could see some sites opening as soon as tomorrow. All of the other unsupervised sites we have tankers going out. Some of those sites also have water supplies as well. So really, it's a real mixture. That's why watching the outdoor rinks map is the best way to get the status update.
Halverson also mentioned that if a rink isn't open yet, there will be signs saying it's closed. That rain and warm weather over the weekend hasn't dampened the experience at Loch Lomond ski area. Officials there say conditions on the slopes are still great, thanks to all the man-made snow they were able to build up earlier this month. Emma Chilton has more.
The warm weather is not slowing down business and hasn't affected the hills very much due to new technology. General Manager Jason Gary says they were able to stay ahead of the weather by making a year's worth of snow early December before the mild weather hit.
So our modern snowmaking equipment, we've been continuing to reinvest over the last number of years. So the newest pieces that we have weather stations fully built into them. They're fully automated, so they allow you to make snow in marginal temperatures and conditions. They'll turn themselves on and off. They'll rotate with winds and weather patterns. So that makes our capacity to make snow much better because we are able to, harness like technology so that it's always optimized.
The current conditions on the hill are excellent, offering an ideal experience for enthusiasts of all levels to enjoy.
And then the other thing that we have is modern grooming equipment. So we have print-off machines here. Some are fitted with winches so that we're able to actually move snow uphill really efficiently, as well as grooming on steeper terrain. So it allows us to be more consistent and more able to manage snow volumes and place it where we need it so that we continue to keep all of the ski slopes covered and like consistent thicknesses around the ski area.
It's really fun here and skiing is very fun.
I'm training with my ski team on the Pine and we're doing slalom and it's really fun. Yeah, really, yeah. I've been on the ski team for several years, almost 5 years, so I spend a lot of time here.
For most, the warm weather is welcoming for a day on the hill. Emma Chilton, TBT News.
Well, for the first time in its history, the Thunder Bay 50/50 Grand Prize has exceeded $5 million, with a portion of the sales going towards the hospital. This Christmas was very much a time of giving. Vasilios Bellos has more.
Support for the Thunder Bay Health Sciences Center through the 50/50 draw is at an all-time high. With this month's record-setting $5.2 million jackpot, people are still flowing through the store at Intercity Shopping Center or buying tickets online. CEO of the Regional Health Sciences Foundation, Glenn Craig, is simply blown away they surpassed this milestone number and mentioned it could get even higher.
It is absolutely incredible. It crossed on Sunday night, earlier than we even had expected, and the sky is the limit. The draw is on Friday. It might be a $6 million draw.
The 50/50 draw has handed out more than $50 million in prizes over the years, with tens of millions going to funding the hospital for new equipment, labs, triage for the emergency department, and much more. Craig also mentioned how this year's December draw is different from the past ones.
We've had multi-million draws all along in December, but this one, it's just gone viral across the province. We know we have buyers from all across Ontario who are buying tickets this month, and as I said, we're over 5 million. This is beyond our wildest imagination.
Further, this amount of money can be truly life-changing for the lucky winner of the jackpot.
Now we're talking $5-6 million maybe. I just can't imagine whoever's on that other end, just all that stress that we all go through, whether it's the visa bill, the mortgage payment, the car payment, putting your kids through university, all that stress is suddenly taken away. Like you're
kind of set.
Once again, the draw for the prize is Friday, January 3rd, in addition to a $50,000 draw on New Year's Eve. Vicilios Balos, TBT News.
Oh, that gets me so excited, Haley. I know we both have tickets. But you know what? I think if either one of us got the call, I don't know if we'd have a fun video like you normally see. I think it'd just go silent because I would faint.
I think I would immediately say, well, I'll hear myself on the news tonight. Yeah, like I always do. But
exactly.
Yeah. No, I think it would be a weird, like, out-of-body experience.
100%.
For sure, absolutely. Yeah. And you know what? Weird is a great description for this time of year. I mean, that time in between Christmas and New Year's, you don't really know what's going on.
No,
so
exactly.
if you need an update, today is Monday. And it's still above seasonal temperatures today, but yeah, it's kind of, you feel out of place at this time of year for sure, because we're out of season. It could be April for all I know at this point. But no, I've checked, it's Monday, December 30th. And today we did have a high of 1 degree. That happened around 2 this afternoon. We were at -1, our low for most of our morning hours. And we had a shift in wind as well. It was northwest for most of the day, but it picked up in the afternoon. We saw gusts up to 35 kilometers an hour. We had some periodic light snow in the morning as well, but just as we started to warm up in temperature, that's when we saw the clouds start to clear a little bit. We were cloudy for the morning, then mostly cloudy in the afternoon, and we cleared up to about partly cloudy as of recently. But yeah, for the most part, fairly steady, not seeing a lot of fluctuation today. Now for our region, we can play a little game of Connect 4 here because we see -4 from Red Lake all the way down to Atikokan. Now areas like Uppsala and Atikokan, they didn't see a lot of fluctuation today either. Winds were fairly mild and they only fluctuated about 1 degree or 2. So that's not our focus right now. One place I do want to focus on is Red Lake. Today they saw some freezing fog. And if you're wondering what is freezing fog, that is when fog is cold enough that when it makes contact with something, it can freeze. So if you had fog on your windshield this morning up in Red Lake, then that could be frozen and you could be scraping your car for a bit. So there is a few areas that could see more fog as well. Areas like Kenora, Dryden, and Fort Francis, they all are under a fog advisory. So the fog will be thick and it'll make visibility quite hard. So if you are trying to drive around in those areas tonight, please be careful. Temperatures ranging between -6 to -4 for a lot of these areas. Wind chill not playing too much of a factor. It was actually almost -7 for wind chill at the coldest points for most areas of the region today. Now areas like Armstrong, they spent most of their day cloudy, and they didn't fluctuate much either, -2, -1. They are one of the areas though where we did start to see the northwest winds start to get a little gusty, just like here in Thunder Bay. Greenstone saw some gusts at times as well, and they saw light snow for most of their day actually, and a lot of these places -1, for most of the day. Nipigon Marathon, you see -1 as well. They were mostly cloudy in Wawa, they're at 1 degree. And Sault Ste. Marie seeing a bit of a mix of precipitation as they saw a little bit of light rain, a drizzle more like really, and some flurries as well. They're at 1 degree currently. As for Thunder Bay tonight, we'll have a low of -6, feeling like -11, mainly cloudy, winds not too gusty. So pretty calm for tonight, but like I said, we're leading into the new year. Tomorrow's New Year's Eve. And I have to tell you, I think Mother Nature is thinking new year, new me, because we are going to see a shift.
Okay, you know what? I'm very curious about that. Thank you so much, Haley.
No problem.
Well, when we come back, there is a growing rebellion within the Liberal Party as they're asking for its leader, Justin Trudeau, to step down. We'll have more on that as your Monday News Hour continues.
It's not just resignation, it's about rebellion within the Liberal Party.